Hi guys, welcome to Retro Venture. Today I'm going to be talking about arcade conversions to the Master System. Now there were some really great ports from the arcade to the console. I've just picked a hand for you to talk about, so let's take a look. Now Rashdan was released in the arcade in the late 80s, and what a great arcade game it was. They ported it to the Master System shortly afterwards, and it was a good conversion. It was your hack and slash platform barbarian style game, running around, slaying monsters, harpies and even chimeras. It had two sections to each level, and the first you start outside on land, jumping on platforms and ropes to get you to the entrance to the castle. Then the second part was inside the castle, where you had ropes to crawl up and spikes to avoid all the time, while slaying monsters to get you closer to the end of the boss. The platforms do get a bit tricky in the later stages, and if you didn't time your jumping correctly, you found yourself starting from the beginning to the end of the level. Now, you didn't get just your standard sword to help you on your way. You could pick up other weapons, including an axe, a mace and even a fire shooting sword. You did get other items as well, such as armour, which gave you some defence for a small period of time. Monsters would also drop potions from time to time, and these potions consisted of blue and red. The blue gave you health and the red took health away. When you get to the end of the level, you came up against the boss, and there were some really tough bosses as you progressed further through the levels. If you picked up their patterns, you could work them out and kill them pretty easily. So, in my opinion, if you've got a Master System or you're looking to start collecting, I would say definitely add this one for your collection. It's a fantastic version, something that'll keep you coming back for more and more. Next up, we've got the New Zealand Story, and this was a fantastic platformer. I remember watching people playing this in the arcade and seeing them getting really far and peering over the shoulder as I would stand and watch for hours. When they ported this to the Master System, I was really impressed on how well they converted it. The graphics and the sound almost arcade perfect, and couldn't believe this was on an 8-bit machine. You play as a little Kiwi and going to rescue all your Kiwi friends who've been kidnapped by Wally Walrus. You have traversed through 21 levels to get to rescue each of your friends. You start off with a bow and arrow, but as you get further into the game, some characters will drop other weapons like lasers and bombs. These levels can consist of some neat platforming, jumping, spikes to avoid and even water to swim in. You've also got other things to help you through the levels, such as a balloon which can be destroyed if hit by a spike or an arrow, a metal broom which is pretty much indestructible, or some characters tend to fly around on inflatable birds, which if you kill them they will leave the balloon behind. Now you can already swim in water. It gives you a nice little Kiwi scuba mask for you to breathe. You don't have unlimited oxygen, and you have to find air pocket to replenish your air levels. In some levels you will find hidden warps which will help you skip a level and get further into the game. Once you've killed the boss at the end of the stage, you move on to the next level. So overall, I think New Zealand Story for the Master System is definitely one for your collection, and it's almost near arcade perfect port. Next up, we've got Space Harrier. Now this was a great arcade game back in the 80s, and it stood out compared to the rest, and some of the arcade machines were set on a big chair that moved around on hydraulics. The Master System version was one of the early ports to the Master System, but hadn't aged well. Obviously the limitations of the console means the conversion is not going to be arcade perfect, but compared to some of the other ports it did a really good job. Now Space Harrier is like your third person space shooter where the enemies fly towards you from the distance. At the end of the stage you'll have an end level boss which can consist of things like a two-headed dragon, a skeleton dragon and even a UFO that throws giant robots at you. Each of these will shoot fireballs, and while you are trying to dodge them, at the same time trying to shoot the weak point. The music is pretty faithful to the arcade, and it gets you pumping for some Space Harrier action. There are 18 levels in total to complete, and level 5 and 12 are the bonus stages where you hop on a white dragon and you have to hit as many objects as possible. Now, to say that this was one of the first ports to the Master System, it does hold up well for an 8-bit machine. Overall, this was a good version and probably one of the best ports compared to the early versions. I highly recommend it, and definitely it's a must for your collection. Next up we have Shinobi. It was released in the arcades in the late 80s and shortly afterwards ported to the Master System. I remember looking at the back of the box and seeing the graphics and thinking to myself that this didn't look that good. I watched a friend play and came away wanting my own copy. Soon afterwards I did have my own copy and I just couldn't put it down. Shinobi is a side-scrolling platform game while rescuing the hostages and defeating the enemies in the process. After you've rescued the hostages, each one gives you a different power-up, such as more life or even a better weapon. There are 2 or 3 sections to each stage, and after that you fight the end-level boss, which can consist of a samurai or even a helicopter. After you've defeated the boss, you will be given a chance to earn some ninja magic by stopping the ninjas pouncing on you from levels in front. If you succeed, you'll be given a ninja magic which can only be used once you have killed a certain amount of enemies. And believe me, you will need this on some bosses. So to say I had my doubts about playing this game at first, just basing out the graphics, actually, after playing it, it turned out to be a great conversion. I would definitely say this should be one of your top 5 in your collection. And finally we've got RType. Now you're one man in a spaceship up against the Bido Armada. RType in the arcade was a fantastic game and it was ported to many formats. One of the best versions has to go to RType on the Master System. It's a side-scrolling shoot 'em up that consists of all 8 levels. They even included a hidden level exclusive to the console. Now there's several power-ups to collect while shooting hordes of enemies, such as red sphere, which is anti-air laser, blue sphere, which is reflective laser, and yellow sphere, which is your anti-land laser. You can also collect speed-ups, missiles and bit units, which is a bit like an option from Gradius. At the end of each level you will have to confront the boss, and they can consist of things like a giant red alien to even a mega battleship. Now RType has great graphics, sound and stays pretty faithful to the arcade. Overall, I would say this is probably one of the best shoot 'em ups for the console and should be in your collection. This is a definite must and will not let you down. Okay guys, so that's just a few of some really great ports for the Master System. There are many more to talk about, and that will be for another episode. Don't forget to leave a comment below and let me know some of your favourite arcade conversions. Also, like and subscribe for more videos. And thanks for watching, and I'll see you soon.